Hey everybody, Sean here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Final Fantasy X HD Remastered, grabbing the Feel the Pain achievement. This is to unlock the Aeon Anima. Now, the first step to this is to make sure that you clear 6 of the Cloister of Trials, finding the Destruction Sphere. So in this video, I'll basically be covering how to complete each Cloister of Trial with the Destruction Sphere in mind. So you can also use this as a guide to get through these if you get stuck on any of the cloisters. First one is going to be in Besaid. What you want to do basically is want to go up to those letters, make sure you interact with them, and that will allow you to touch this glyph right here. That should get the door open. Head on down, make sure you grab this sphere. The game's going to give you a basic little tutorial on how spheres work. You can listen to that if you want to. But whatever the case, grab this sphere and you want to take it further downstairs. Pop it in this door right here, and that should get the door open. So once you have that, you can re-grab the sphere once the door is open. So make sure you do that, and then we're going to bring this further with us into the cloister. So wrap around the corner, and then what you want to do is you want to pop it right here in this little hole in the wall, and that should get this thing opened. So once you get this thing open, you will notice the destruction sphere is going to be right here. Leave it alone for now. We will come back to it. So just leave that alone. Don't take it. Make sure you head further down the cloister, and you'll notice some more letters right here. So make sure you touch that. That should get this recess open. So make sure you do that. Once inside, what you want to do is you want to grab this sphere next to this spider web looking kind of thing. So grab that, and then what you want to do is you want to take this thing outside. So just wait till all the energy disappears, and then you want to pop it down in this pedestal thing. And then what's going to happen is this thing is going to disappear, allowing you to open up the next room. However, instead of finishing up the cloister, we're going to go back to that destruction sphere and then make sure you grab that, and we are going to pop it in the spiderweb room. It's at this time that I would like to note that I would highly recommend you complete these destruction sphere puzzles in your initial trip to whatever temple you're doing them at. The reason for that is a handful of the temples are going to have obstacles in front of them later, especially if you try to come back during the post game in order to do them. And an example of that is this first temple is going to be blocked off by your first Dark Aeon, which is going to be a very tough fight. So I would recommend getting the Destruction Sphere puzzles out of the way so you can get Anima before all the tough parts in the game. So pop the Destruction Sphere in the spiderweb room. This wall blows up behind you. Make sure you just wrap around the corner and then grab the chest. It's going to be a hidden treasure, and that will also unlock our first statue back at Anima's temple, which will help us unlock her. So there's going to be a total of 6. That's the first one done. To wrap up this cloister, all I have to do is just head back to that previous wall we opened up, push the pedestal into the hole, a staircase opens up, and you get a cutscene. You get an achievement for doing your first cloister. It's called The Right Thing for 10 gamer score. Then it's on to the temple in Kilika. There is nothing here preventing you from coming back during the post game, so feel free to come back here when you get the airship in case you missed this. Your first time here, you are going to get kicked out because you're not a guardian yet. Just ignore the rules and head on inside anyways after that little cutscene spaff. Make sure you grab the Kilika sphere from that pedestal and then pop it in this wall. It's going to burn it down, and then you have to take it out to remove the rubble. So just take it out, and then the doorway should be clear of any fire or any door. So once you have that out, we can proceed further in the room. So take the sphere with you, and then you should be in this room with a bunch of pedestal holes. Make sure you pop it down right here in front. That should get it out of the way, but more importantly, a glyph is going to pop up in this fire right here. So once you get the glyph to appear, you can get to the next step done. But first we have to take the sphere out of the way so we don't burn our hands. So once you have this, just put it down somewhere safe. I recommend putting it down right here on the wall on the right. Then what you can do is you can head back to said glyph, and then you can touch it, and that should get the next room open. So as you can see, this is actually the final room. However, it's blocked by a massive inferno right in front of us. So we have to do some puzzle stuff in order to clear that out of the way. Head into this room. You will notice there is going to be another sphere right here. Make sure you take that. That is going to be the first half of trying to clear that inferno. As you can see, there is still a fire stream on top, so we have to get rid of that. But first off, we have to drop off this sphere to free our hands. So we're going to go back to that previous room, pop it down on the left, and now we have our hands free to go do stuff. So, as you can see, there is a pedestal right here with a glyph sphere. Make sure you grab that glyph sphere, and then we are going to take it back to that hole we just took the previous sphere from. And since this isn't a fire sphere, it shouldn't light the fire, but it should get this door open, so make sure you do that. But that also breaks the energy stream of the top, which should clear the inferno. Hit this pad thingy by just walking over it. That should move the pedestal up to this room, so you don't have to push it. And then once that's here, what you want to do is you want to backtrack to the previous room, and you want to make sure you grab one of your 2 Kilika spheres. So make sure you grab that, and then we're going to take it back with us. And what this is going to allow us to do is pop it down in this pedestal. And then what that's going to do is light the pedestal up, and then we can push it. So make sure you push it, and you are trying to push it all the way over here. So just make sure you push it forward, and then once you can't push it forward anymore, you want to move over to the left. Then you want to push it from the left towards the right, and then all you have to do is just push it all the way. Once it's here, just push it forward, and you're pushing it towards that pad thing from earlier. That should blow things up, and then lower this platform down. And then right behind is going to be another Kilika sphere. So make sure you head on downstairs. No inferno in our way, so we don't have to worry about catching on fire. You want to make sure you grab this Kilika sphere, and that's going to calm the floor down. And then we're going to take this all the way back upstairs. Lots of back and forth, but that's what puzzle solving is all about in this game. So once you are back here, you want to pop it down where we took the previous Kilika sphere. Once again, there are 2 in this room, 1 on each side now, so keep that in mind for later. Then we're going to head forward, and then we're going to take care of that destruction sphere. So in that room we opened up is going to be said destruction sphere. Make sure you grab that, and then what you have to do is you have to take this down to where we took that previous Kilika sphere. So head on back downstairs, and then pop this right here, and that should blow up the wall as all destruction spheres do, and reveal to us another hidden treasure. Pick up the hidden treasure. That is going to be 2 statues lit up over at Anima's temple, so that is going to be 1/3 of the way towards getting the achievement done. So do that, and to wrap up the cloister, all you have to do is just go back to that previous room, grab either one of the 2 Kilika spheres, and then pop it into the hole to the right of the last door. That should set the thing on fire. Take the Kilika sphere out. That should remove the fiery rubble and then allow us to pass. Just head up the stairs, and then you get some cutscene stuff, and then that should wrap up this cloister. This one's pretty easy, but there's a lot of back and forth with staircases and stuff, so not too bad. After wrapping things up at your second temple, there is a pretty big break from temples if you are following along during the main story. You are going to do a ton of stuff at Luca, then Mihen, and then eventually you end up here at the Jose Temple. So this is going to be right after Operation Mihen. Once you're here, since you are finally a guardian in the story, you can have access to the cloister without anyone stopping you. Head on inside, make sure you grab the Jose sphere from the left. You want to pop it in the door. As you can see, there are 2 holes in this door, so that's what the Jose sphere on the right is going to come in. So make sure you grab that, pop that in the door, and that should open up your first door, and you should get past the first room of this temple. So this is going to be the main area, and this is where a majority of the puzzle solving takes place. Go forward, you'll notice a giant symbol on the floor. Your goal for this cloister is to light that thing up, which should create an elevator. So first step, you want to make sure you grab this Jose sphere from this back wall right here. Once you have that, you want to take that and you want to pop it down to either one of the 2 holes on the right. Then what you have to do is you have to grab a second Jose sphere. So we're just going to borrow this one right here, which should light down a symbol. However, we will relight it later, so don't worry about that. Take this back to that second hole, and that should get this superconductor thing active, and that's going to be helpful. So what that superconductor thing is going to do is it's going to allow us to supercharge one of the Jose spheres. So all you do is just go back to the middle, make sure you grab this pedestal, and then you want to push it all the way to the right. That should hit it with lightning and give us a supercharged Jose sphere. So that's pretty cool. It's going to turn different color and get all pulsing and stuff. So make sure you wrap around the pedestal and make sure you take the sphere out of it. So make sure you just remove it. Then we have to get the pedestal back to where we grabbed it. Instead of pushing it back, what you can also do is you can run to the far left and then you can hit this pad thing that should reset it. So you don't have to do the actual work of pushing it back. Once you have the superconductor sphere, you want to make sure you pop it down, and that should provide enough energy to open up this door. So that's going to reveal the third room, which has a bunch of electricity in a gap where we can't jump over. So in order to get past that, you have to grab the two Jose spheres, and then you want to pop it in either side of the pedestal. So both sides are going to contain a sphere. So first one either side, then the second one on the opposite side. And then once you have this ready, you want to basically push the pedestal forward into the gap, and because we have two Jose spheres, it's going to create a magnetism like thing, and that will basically create a platform, and then we can just jump across. So just throw it down, and a little cutscene is going to play out where that is going to happen. So as you can see, it magnetizes up, and it's going to draw all the electricity towards the pedestal. And what that is going to allow us to do is just jump across, and then once you're across, there's another pedestal directly in front of us. All you have to do with this one is just push it forward, so just push it forward, and as you can see, there is a wire right here, and that is going to light up the last part of the symbol. So from here, we have to start backwards engineering the rest of the symbol with all the spheres we took out to borrow to get other stuff done. So first step is to close the door, since we won't be going back there. So take your supercharged Jose sphere. At this point, it's just going to act like a normal Jose sphere, so just pop it down wherever you want. I'm going to pop it down right here on the left in order to get the next part of the symbol lit up. Then you have to hit that pad, and that should get the pedestal back. Since we're not going back to that back room, we can use these spheres, so we are going to repurpose them. Take the one on the left, and then you have to bring it all the way back here. Just follow the wire to the first room, and then just put it into one of the holes on either side, and as you can see, this is going to be symmetrical, so we have to grab the second sphere, bring it all the way back here, and then put it on the opposite side, and that should finish up the symbol. That's going to get the elevator going, and you're probably wondering to yourself at this point where the destruction sphere is, but don't you worry, it's going to be on the second floor. So make sure you grab that elevator, and then you want to take it all the way up to the second floor, and we got some more stuff to do up there, namely the destruction sphere, in order to get anima. So pedestal disappears if you left it there for whatever reason, but the elevator is going to appear, and then we can ride this guy up. Once you're here, you will notice a blocked staircase right in front of you, so we have to get that open. To do that, you want to move forward, and as you can see, there is going to be 5 pedestals right here. In order to activate the wall, you just have to push each one of them in. It's actually very simple. There's no puzzle solving. You literally just have to move all of them forward. So after you push all 5 in, what that's going to do basically is it's going to open up that staircase where we need to get going. Make sure you don't do that quite just yet, because that will end the cloister. We have to get the destruction sphere, which is going to be the last thing we do before wrapping things up. So a pedestal is also going to appear, and that's what we are going to use to get our destruction sphere. So just take the elevator back down. We are doing a little backtracking because we need to actually find the destruction sphere. So once you're back down here, you want to go to the left. You'll notice a glyph right here that activated once we got that final room lit up, so make sure you touch it. And then behind here is going to be the destruction sphere, so make sure you grab that, conveniently hidden enough, and then just take this one back to the second floor. This is going to be another temple that you don't have any trouble backtracking to later on, so keep that in mind. This one's another friendly temple in the post game. So with the destruction sphere, what you want to do is want to pop it down in that pedestal, and that should blow up this wall. Nothing else required. You just have to find the destruction sphere. Grab the chest, and that's going to be 3 statues lit up at Anima's temple, and then it's on to the 4th temple. Next one up is going to be Macalania Temple. This one's actually quite interesting since you actually have to do the cloister in reverse, since you are going to have to do it when you are trying to escape the temple rather than right before you get to the Aeon. So what you want to do is you want to make your way to the main room right here. As you can see, there are these 3 pillars that you have to build a bridge across in order to escape. First step you want to do is you want to push this pedestal into this thing of ice right here. That should stop it. Then you want to take the Macalania sphere out of the wall right here, and then what you want to do is you want to take this and you want to pop it down in the pedestal. So do that, and now you can push this thing straight, and you want to knock out this set of ice right here that should give you access to the basement. And once you are in the basement, you can get some more puzzle stuff done. But before you do that, make sure you grab the glyph sphere in the middle, since this can't power the bridge, but we need it to get access to another sphere. So take this thing down, and then you want to head over to the left, and you want to pop this thing right here. As you can see, there is a sphere above. Using the glyph sphere on this will rise that one up and then give us another Macalania sphere we can use later on. Before we leave the basement, make sure you push the pedestal to the right. That should get another part of the bridge activated, and then you can head back to the main floor. You have access to this third Macalania sphere right here. Make sure you take that out. And then once you have this thing, you want to take this back into the basement, and then you want to pop it in to this pillar. That should get the second part of the bridge active. And then obviously, since we're done with the basement, you want to head back outside and then grab that Macalania sphere, which is going to power the ramp, and that is going to finish the bridge. So that is how you get the cloister done. But of course, we're not done yet, since we need the destruction sphere in order to get anima later on. Keep in mind, like the Besaid Temple, this temple is going to be guarded by a Dark Aeon later on, so if you don't get the Destruction Sphere your first time around, you are going to have a lot more of a difficult time coming back, since you have to fight Dark Shiva in order to get access to the temple again. So what you want to do is you want to go to the bridge. If you want the Destruction Sphere, what you have to do is you have to hit up this teleport pad right here, which should warp the pedestal up. As you can see, it will take out a part of the bridge, so once you do this, you can't escape for the time being. So in order to get the Destruction Sphere, make sure you grab the Macalania Sphere out of the pedestal, and you want to push it down. That should get the Destruction Sphere active, and then what you have to do is you have to go get it. So first off, put the Macalania Sphere right here. That should rebuild the ramp, which will give you access to the basement, and the Destruction Sphere treasure is going to be down there. To get the pedestal back, what you have to do is you have to hit up this teleport pad, and that should warp it back here. As you can see, it will come back with the Destruction Sphere. So make sure you take that out, and then you have to bring it into the basement in order to get the treasure. The place you want to pop it down is going to be the only free spot, which is right here. That should blow up this part of the ice, and then the treasure chest is going to be underneath. So make sure you open it up and then grab your treasure, and then that should be one more Destruction Sphere puzzle done and another statue unlocked at Anima's temple. So once you grab that, we have to basically rebuild the bridge now. So you just have to do what you did, but kind of backwards. So starting off, you want to head back up to the main floor. We are going to take apart the bridge for now, since we need these Macalania spheres in order to get the pedestal back into the basement. Pop it down to the far right pedestal, and that should get the ice rebuilt. Then that will allow you to stop the pedestal from sliding off. So push it forward, and then the ice should stop it, and then you just want to push it straight, and then that should get it into the basement. Make sure you grab the sphere before you do that, and that will save you a bit of time. And then if you want to, you could pop it into the pedestal, which will save even more time, since we have to do this in order to rebuild the last section of the bridge. So just make sure you head around, make sure you give it a little push. With the ramp in place, this should go flying down into the basement. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure you push it back into the pedestal. So make sure you push it over here, and that should get this column complete and rebuild that part of the bridge. Then what we have to do is we just have to take this sphere out. That will take out the ramp. However, we're done in the basement, and we could just reuse this to replace the middle part of the bridge, and that will allow us our grand escape. So just head back up. Be very, very careful. Don't touch this warp pad, or else you'll break the bridge apart again, and you have to redo what we just did, essentially. So don't touch that. Hug the left wall, and then just head on outside, and we are on to the Bevelle Temple. This one is definitely the most complicated out of all the cloisters. Think of it as the water temple in Ocarina of Time, but for this game. Starting off, push the pedestal into the glyph right here. That should get this thing going. It's basically going to act like a giant roller coaster where you have to make sure you get these tracks realigned. So starting off, you are going to be in this first corridor. Just hit A to confirm your direction. You are going to get across these glyphs, and every time you come across one, it's going to stop you, and a spinner is going to spin. What you have to do is you have to stop it in the direction you want to go. So for this first one, you want to make sure you stop it when it's pointing to the right. That should send you to the lower level. Then you get to this second glyph once you are on level 2. Make sure you go straight, so just hit A when it's pointing up, and that should get you to the lowest level. And in here is going to be a sphere that we need to grab. So just ride this along. This is going to definitely take you the longest, and try not to mess up the directions, because getting lost here is absolutely miserable. So once you're here, make sure you grab the sphere and you could put it on the pedestal for safekeeping. The pedestal will carry 2 spheres, so make sure you pop that down. And of course, you can carry one yourself, so you can carry at most 3 spheres at a time. So once you pop this back up, just push it back in to get our roller coaster back, and we're going to take this back the way we came. So once you hop back onto the roller coaster, it should take you back up to the second level, and then your only option is to go straight, which should take you back to the topmost level. Once you are there, the game should auto turn you, so now that you are facing forward. Once you are facing forward, you want to ride it until you get to the next glyph, and you want to make sure you turn to the right. That should put you at this platform. If you miss it, just drive straight until you fall off the edge. That should set you to the beginning of the corridor, and then you get another chance, basically. You can't really die in these puzzle solving segments. You can just get hopelessly lost if you're not paying attention to where you are. So just keep that in mind. If you ever miss a turn, it's easier to just go straight until you fall off and then just get reset. So once you get off on the right platform, make sure you take one of your spheres out and you want to pop it in this pedestal. That should get to the second level's corridor moving. Then what you want to do is want to pop the roller coaster back, and your goal now is to get to the left side. So you have to go to the opposite side from where you're at. Obviously, you can't turn right away, so what you want to do is you either want to drive yourself off the edge, or if you are fast enough, you can actually hit this glyph and then do a U-turn when it's pointing back. So if you do that, just make sure you go right. If you fall off the platform and get sent back from the beginning, you are going left. You're basically going to this platform right here. So in case you want to orient yourself, make sure you get that right. Once you are here, make sure you grab the sphere out of the pedestal, and then you want to pop it in your pedestal, so we are back to 2 spheres. Then what you want to do now is you want to get this thing back on the track, so just pop it down, get our roller coaster back, and then we are either going to U-turn or we are going to drive ourselves off of the edge, trying to go back to the beginning. So make sure you do one of those two. I'm going to U-turn in this case, but whatever the case, you are trying to get down to the second level, which is that first turn right there. So just ignore that. And then you want to go here. If you are restarting, make sure you turn right. If you are using the U-turn, make sure you go left. And now we are back down to the second level. As you can see, the rail has started to move, so now we can turn left and have access to the second level. Make sure you punch it straight once you go left, and then we are going to stop at the very last turn. So you want to make sure you hang a right here. Once again, if you drive yourself off accidentally, you get reset at whatever level you are at, so you don't have to worry about turning again. So once you get off that turn, what you want to do is you want to grab one of our spheres out of the pedestal and you want to pop it into the wall right here. That should get another part of the track moving. You don't have to roller coaster into this bit. You can actually just walk across. And as you can see, there is a clear part of wall right here, a force field, if you will, that has a sphere holder in it. So we are going to need a glyph sphere in order to open that up. So what you want to do is you want to get our roller coaster going. So we just want to ignore this for now and then get our roller coaster back on to the track. So just push it the only way it can go, and then we are going to get back to the second corridor. So just hop on, and then I recommend riding this off the edge. So turn right, and that should send us back to the beginning. That saves you a bunch of time, and it's easier to explain what direction you need to go from this point of view. So now what you want to do is you want to go forward once you get to the first turn, and then what we are going to do is we are going to head to the second to last turn. So skip that first one and then turn here. And then as you can see right here, the glyph sphere is going to be in this part of the wall. So what we need to do is we need to grab it, and then we need to bring it back to the final turn. So make sure you get off and then grab the glyph sphere and then just take it with you. Once you get back on the track, we are going to ride it all the way to the last turn. So from this orientation, what you have to do is you basically have to turn right, and then once you get back onto the corridor, you want to take another right. Of course, if you get lost, you can always just turn yourself off of the edge and then get sent back from the beginning. But honestly, this is easier since it's literally the next turn. So make sure you stop yourself when this thing's pointing right, and then turn here. And now that we have the glyph sphere, we can just pop it into that clear wall, and that should remove it. And behind it, you can kind of see, is the destruction sphere. So actually, the cool thing about this temple is the destruction sphere is actually unmissable. The reason for that is you are no longer able to go back to Bevelle once you get into the post game for story reasons. So the game makes it so you can't miss this destruction sphere on your first time around. You have to pick it up. So despite the cloister being quite difficult, the one missable thing that is usually apparent with the other temples is unmissable in this one. So don't worry about messing up Anima in this temple. Once you get the destruction sphere, hit the roller coaster back up and then steer it into the edge, and then that should send you back to the beginning. Then we have to go back to that second turn, so make sure you go straight, and then you want to skip the first tunnel, and then you want to turn right on the second tunnel. This is where we grabbed the glyph sphere from. So what you have to make sure you do once you get off is you want to use the destruction sphere on the spot where we grab the glyph sphere. That should cause the part of the rail in the third level to activate. You can kind of see it there in the background. Basically, it's stuck right now, and the destruction sphere is going to loosen it up. So once you pop it down, the thing is going to activate, allowing us to have access to the rest of the track. So then what you have to do is you have to get back on our roller coaster, and then we are going to take this down and to the third level. But before we head down there, we actually have to grab a second Bevel sphere. So get the roller coaster back onto the main track, and then what you want to do is you want to take a right once you get to your first intersection, and then what you want to do is you want to take your first right. This is going to be the last turn of the second corridor. If you remember, this is where we got the destruction sphere the first time. And if you remember from earlier, this is where we popped this Bevel sphere down in order to build this track, in order to get access to the wall where we needed the glyph sphere in order to open up that to get the destruction sphere. Whatever the case, we're done with all that, so we can get our Bevel sphere back, pop it into the pedestal, and then get the roller coaster back on track. Make sure you turn off the edge to get resent back to the beginning of this corridor, and then we could take our first right in order to get down to the third corridor. Once you respawn, make sure you take the first right. It should be this tunnel right here that is taking a pretty big dip into the third level, so make sure you take that turn. Now that the destruction sphere is in place, this track should be moving, so that will allow us to turn left. Don't go down, since there's nothing down there but an empty pedestal that we grabbed our first Bevel sphere from. So go left, and then what you want to do is you want to take our first right. So just head down this way, and then take the first right, and then that should put us on track to get to the rest of the place. So make sure you go down here, and then what you want to do is you just want to push the pedestal. Make sure you push it towards the screen in case you get lost, so just push it this way. It's very easy to get disoriented here, but this is the way you want to go. Hop on to the roller coaster, and this will ride you to the rest of the level. So you should turn here, and then you are able to turn here, and that should get the ramp going, and then we can take this all the way up, and then this will take us to the last part of the temple. Now, once we get here, we have some treasures to grab, so make sure you take care of that. First step is to just take the stairs up, since you can't push the pedestal up here. There should be a chest to your right. Open it up. You should get a HP sphere, and then what you want to do is you also want to hit up this pad that warps the pedestal up here, and then all you have to do is just grab one of the Bevel spheres off of the pedestal. So we needed two, since we need one to power this track, but we needed a second one in order to power the roller coaster. So make sure you pop this into the wall. That gets the track moving, and since we have a second one in the pedestal, we can turn it into a roller coaster and then push it down, and then roller coaster our way over to that chest right there. So that is actually going to wrap up this cloister. All you have to do is just walk to the right once you get both treasure chests, and then proceed with getting your 5th Aeon. And we're actually done for a while. We have one last cloister of trials, which takes place towards the end of the game once you get to Zanarkand. So the interesting thing about these Zanarkand Cloister Trials is you actually cannot get the Destruction Sphere your first time around. You have to wait until you get the airship. So with that in mind, we are just going to tackle the starting cloister. So starting off, what you have to do is you have to press these buttons. They should get these Tetris shapes to appear, and what you have to do is you have to match the ones on the little TV screen in the back. If you step on a wrong one, it will reset the whole puzzle, so keep that in mind. However, that being the case, the buttons will never change, so the same button will always activate the same shape. So you just want to follow this video shape by shape and making sure you press all the right buttons without accidentally stepping on a button that you're not supposed to. Once you finish up the first room, it's going to reveal these 6 pillars. Every time you push one of these pillars in, it will cause the second room, which is going to be basically a bigger version of the first room, to change the pattern. So we're going to start off with the pattern in the upper left. So push that one in, and then what you have to do is you have to press the appropriate buttons. Starting off on the right side, you want to push that one in the middle. Then you want to get this one on the top right. Then what you want to do is you want to make your way over here, hit the one on the left by the staircase, and then the one right next to it. And then what you want to do is you want to work your way down, hit this one, which should be a giant blue L, then this one, which is going to be its twin, and that should solve the first puzzle. Then what you want to do is you want to head back and then move our next pedestal. Next one we're going to do is the bottom left. You don't have to do the two in the middle. You just have to do each of the corners, but keep in mind that all of them are going to be different, so you might want to follow along with the order that I'm showing them in the video. Starting off, you want to get the one closest to the door, then the two in the middle, again, right here up top. Then you want to make sure you make your way down to the left side, being very careful not to accidentally hit a button. Grab this one right here, and then we are going to head on down. A safe place to stay is usually on the border right here. Get the one on the bottom left, which should be this straight block. Then you want to grab this one, which should be a little L. Then the one right next to it. And that is actually going to solve that one. Back to the first room, pushing the one in the upper right. And then we are going to head back to the second room. This one, you want to start off, get the one closest to the door, and then what you want to do is you want to head your way down. Make sure you grab the bottom of the two right here, then grab this one, and then we are going to move over here, grab this one again, and then we are going to grab the one right next to it. Move your way down, and then grab this one closest to the middle right here. Then after that, we are going to head all the way down here, skip those for now, and then get the one on the bottom right here. And then finally, we are going to go over to the bottom right, grab this one, and then we are going to grab the one on top of it, and then that is going to wrap up puzzle number 3. Puzzle number 4, bottom right. Push this one in, and this will be the last puzzle for the Tetris pieces. So starting off, we are going to head to the opposite side of the room, so I recommend staying on the border so you're not accidentally setting off pieces. Once you are here, you want to hit up the top left and then grab the giant blue L. Then we're going to work our way back to the other side of the room and then grab the one on the bottom right here and then the one right next to it, basically the two on the very bottom. Then on to the right side of the room, you want to grab this one right here. And then what you want to do is you want to go to the top and then grab the one closest to the door. And then what you want to do is you want to work your way over here. And then what you have to do is you have to grab this one on the right and of course grab this one on the left. So then that should wrap up the 4th puzzle. What that's also going to do is it's going to allow us to grab the 2 spheres in the middle right here. So starting off, we are going to grab the Kilika sphere. That should shut off the lights, but all we have to do is take this back to the first room. If you remember, we left the 2 pedestals in the middle alone. This is where the spheres are going to come in handy. You just have to put the Kilika sphere on the left and it should automatically push in. Go back to the second room, grab the last sphere, which is a Besaid sphere, put that in to the middle right, and then that should automatically go in, and that's going to solve the first part of the Cloister of Trials. Go back to the second room. You should be allowed to save right before that, and you have a little boss fight before you go on and do all the end game stuff that you're supposed to do. But as for the Destruction Sphere, you actually have to wait a while until you can come back here and grab it. So you are going to do all this story stuff, which of course I won't spoil, but eventually you get to the airship. Once you get the airship, you are allowed to basically come back, and then we can get the Destruction Sphere on our second time around. So once you fast travel to Zanarkand, it should put you right outside the city. Then what you want to do is you want to hit up this warp pad. This will save you a ton of walking. All you have to do is just hit up the left side. This will take you to the front of the dome. There should be a second warp pad, which allows you to go into the dome corridor. Make sure you use those two, and then you can pretty much skip all of the places with random enemy encounters. So once you get here, just head up the staircase and then into the cloister, and then we are here for our second trip and finally are allowed to get to the Destruction Sphere. So to get the Destruction Sphere, basically you are going to have to do the same puzzle, but this time you are looking for all of the places with white squares. So once again, just follow this video button by button and you should be able to get this down. Starting off with the first room, get the one on the left, get the one in the middle, and then get the one in the upper right, like a giant diagonal line right here. So that should cover the first 3, and then as for the rest, they are going to be in the second room. So once again, be very careful not to step on any buttons that you're not supposed to. So starting off, you want to get this one, which is the second closest one to the door. Then you want to inch your way down, and then you want to grab this one, which is right underneath it. Then scoot your way up top, and then you want to grab the one in the middle right here. Then after that, you want to very carefully thread your way through these 2 buttons without accidentally stepping on them. And then the last one is going to be on the left side in the middle right here. So once you set foot on that one and all the other ones light up, you get this little cutscene. This TV screen in the first room is going to open up, and right behind it is going to be your Destruction Sphere. Now, in order to solve the puzzle, what you have to do is you have to head back to that first room and then grab the destruction sphere, and then you have to take it back to the second room, and then you want to pop it down where we got the Besaid sphere from earlier. If you forgot where that is for whatever reason, it's going to be next to the TV screen on the right side. So take this and then grab it and then put it into the TV screen. If you remember, the Besaid sphere was the thing that powered the TV screen, but if you put a destruction sphere in it, it should blow it up, and then right behind should be our treasure. Once you grab that, and you have the other 5, the statues at Anima's temple are all going to light up, but we're not done yet since we actually have to get to Anima's temple. So back to the airship, make sure you talk to Sid, and then you want to go down to the search command. You want to look at the bottom left of the map. The coordinates are going to be about 1461. You should get this area called the Boj Temple. Then what you want to do is you want to fast travel there. If you remember, this is actually our first location when we first got to Spira, so we are going to revisit here. What you want to do is you want to head down the bridge. You should dive down into the water. Before you have access to the temple, you actually have a little boss fight. It's that same fish thing that you fought towards the beginning of the game, but this time you are actually going to try to defeat it for real. It's not too tough of a boss fight, but you have to use Waka and Riku since it's an underwater battle, so hopefully you have them leveled up enough in order to take out this guy. He's actually quite easy since he's very vulnerable to status afflictions, but you can figure that out for yourself. We are focused on trying to find Anima. So once you defeat him, make sure you head back the way you're supposed to go, which is through this front door, and this should lead you into the temple. So once you are here, just surface, and then you have a little staircase thing, and then you have this kind of chamber right in front of you. So head through that door, and then you should notice these 6 statues here. Each of them is going to represent one of the destruction spheres we picked up. If you manage to pick up all 6, all you have to do is just interact with each one. It should light up, signaling that you found the destruction sphere in that proper temple, and then once you light up all 6, you should open up the door. There's also 2 treasure chests here. You might want to grab them since it's kind of a pain to swim down here and try to come back here later on. But whatever the case, once you get all 6 statues lit up, you will have access to the Chamber of the Faith. Head on inside, you get some cutscene stuff and some story stuff explaining who Anima is. You can figure that out for yourself if you want. Some story stuff that I'm going to cut out because of spoilers, but more importantly, you get the super special awesome Aeon, which you can now have for your own use. So once you get past the cutscene and the part where you get to name her, just make sure you proceed like normal, and once you get control of your character again, you should be good for your achievement. There it is, 10 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.